Do you love him?
Pardon me?
Do you love him?
What if one of Hollywood's biggest stars with decades of fame, fortune, and a long list of high-profile romances never plans to settle down? Leonardo DiCaprio has captivated audiences on screen for years, but off-screen, he's sparked just as much fascination.
But does married life seem a little boring to you?
Does it seem boring?
A little sedate?
No, I've seen interesting marriages and I've seen not interesting marriages.
Why hasn't he ever married? And what does turning 50 mean for a man who's always lived life on his own terms? The answers might surprise you.
If your marriage doesn't work out, and Leo, when your relationship ends, maybe you two could give each other a try.
I mean, it really is like family, and yeah, jolly lucky to have such an amazing friend, yeah.
Leonardo Wilhelm DiCaprio was born on November 11, 1974, in Los Angeles, California. He was the only child of Irmelin Indenbirken, a legal secretary, and George DiCaprio, an underground comics artist and distributor. His parents met while attending college and later moved to LA after finishing their studies. It was during a trip to an Italian art museum that Irmelin, pregnant at the time, felt her baby kick while looking at a painting by Leonardo da Vinci. That moment inspired the name Leonardo. Not long after Leo was born, his parents separated. His father had met another woman and decided to move out, but both Irmelin and George agreed to raise Leo together. Rather than split parenting time across different parts of the city, they chose to live in two houses side by side with a shared garden. George stayed with his new partner and her son, Adam Ferrer, while Irmelin focused on raising Leo in a close-knit yet unconventional setup. This co-parenting style wasn't typical for the time, but it allowed Leo to maintain strong bonds with both of his parents. He also grew close to Adam, who would later influence some of Leo's career choices. Leo's upbringing wasn't what most would call glamorous. Though he grew up in Los Angeles, it wasn't the Hollywood side of town. He and his mother moved around frequently and lived in areas like Echo Park and Los Feliz, neighborhoods that back then were known more for their challenges than their charm. He once described his early surroundings as rough, saying they were filled with crime, drugs, and poverty. Despite the difficult environment, he said he always felt loved and supported by his parents, who encouraged him to follow his passions. He attended several schools, including the Los Angeles Center for Enriched Studies and John Marshall High School. But he didn't enjoy school life much. Traditional education just didn't suit him. From a young age, Leo had big dreams, and those dreams had little to do with classrooms or textbooks. For a time, he wanted to become a marine biologist, but acting eventually won him over. Even as a child, Leo loved being the center of attention. He enjoyed mimicking people, pulling faces, and seeing how others would react. That joy in performing stuck with him. He later said that his first real memory of performing was when he was 2 years old, dancing on stage at a festival and making people laugh. It was an early hint of what was to come. Another important influence was his stepbrother, Adam, who worked as a child actor. Leo once saw Adam land a TV commercial that paid $50,000. The number was staggering, especially to a child. Seeing someone close to him succeed in that world made him realize that acting could be a real career, not just a dream. Encouraged by his parents, Leo started going to auditions. He first tried to appear on the children's TV show Romper Room, but according to Leo, he was kicked off the set for being too disruptive. The host of the show later denied this claim, but the story stuck. Around this time, Leo also became interested in breakdancing. In fact, at one point, he almost quit acting to focus on dance. He even won second place in a breakdancing competition in Germany. By age 14, Leo landed his first official acting job, a television commercial for Matchbox toy cars. That small gig opened the door to more opportunities. He went on to appear in ads for well-known brands such as Kraft Singles, Apple Jacks, and Bubble Yum. But getting those jobs wasn't easy. He spent nearly a year and a half trying to get signed by a talent agent. Some even told him to change his name to Lenny Williams to sound more American. He refused. With his father's support, he stuck to his original name and kept going to auditions. Eventually, a family friend helped him get noticed by casting directors. That connection led to more auditions, and soon Leo had appeared in roughly 20 commercials. Each small step brought him closer to his goal. In 1989, he landed a role on The New Lassie, a TV show that marked his first proper acting job. He played a character named Glenn in 2 episodes. It wasn't a leading role, but it was a start. More parts followed, including a guest appearance on the soap opera Santa Barbara and a role in The Outsiders, another TV series. These early gigs helped Leo gain experience and build his resume. One of his more significant early roles came in the TV series Parenthood, where he played a teenager named Gary Buckman. The show was based on the 1989 film of the same name. Leo studied Joaquin Phoenix's performance from the movie to better understand his character. It showed his early commitment to acting and his willingness to learn. His role on Parenthood, along with his performance on Santa Barbara, earned him 2 nominations from the Young Artist Awards, a recognition given to promising young actors. Around that same time, he appeared on a children's game show called Funhouse. The show involved physical challenges and quirky stunts, including one where Leo had to catch a fish using only his mouth. It was a lighthearted gig, but even then, Leo brought energy and charisma to the screen. In 1991, he made his film debut in Critters 3, a low-budget horror movie. Years later, he would joke that it was one of the worst films ever made. Still, it gave him a taste of the movie industry. That same year, he joined the cast of the popular family sitcom Growing Pains, playing Luke Brower, a homeless teenager taken in by the Seaver family. The show's producers hoped Leo would attract younger viewers, especially teenage girls. He was only on the show for a short time, but his performance once again earned him praise and another Young Artist Award nomination. By this point, people were starting to notice him. He wasn't a household name yet, but it was clear he had something special. He was charismatic, dedicated, and eager to improve. Even in small roles, Leo had a screen presence that stood out. What started as a series of commercials and guest appearances was now turning into a legitimate acting career. Leonardo DiCaprio's early work in television helped him develop skills that would soon be noticed by major names in the film industry. His first big opportunity came in 1993 when he was cast in the film This Boy's Life, based on the memoir by author Tobias Wolff. DiCaprio was still a teenager at the time, and landing the lead role opposite Robert De Niro was a major step forward. He played Toby, a boy navigating a difficult relationship with his abusive stepfather, played by De Niro. It wasn't an easy job. Director Michael Caton Jones reportedly used a tough love approach to direct DiCaprio, who was still learning the ropes of working on a film set. According to Caton Jones, DiCaprio lacked professional experience, so he had to be pushed to bring out the emotional depth required for the role. Despite the challenges, DiCaprio's performance stood out. Critics praised his natural talent, and audiences were impressed by how convincingly he portrayed a troubled young boy. The role marked a turning point in his career. It was the moment the industry began to take him seriously. Just a year later, he delivered a performance that would cement his place in Hollywood. In 1994, DiCaprio played Arnie Grape in What's Eating Gilbert Grape, a film directed by Lasse Hallström and co-starring Johnny Depp. Arnie was a young man with developmental disabilities, and the role required both sensitivity and skill. Many viewers assumed DiCaprio was a newcomer with lived experience, which spoke volumes about the authenticity of his performance. He earned his first Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor, making him one of the youngest actors ever nominated at the time. From that point, DiCaprio began to take on more varied and ambitious roles. In the mid-90s, he starred in The Basketball Diaries, portraying a teenager struggling with addiction. The film didn't perform well at the box office, but it became something of a cult classic, especially among younger audiences. DiCaprio's raw performance helped solidify his image as a serious actor willing to take on difficult, emotionally demanding roles. Then came Romeo plus Juliet in 1996, directed by Baz Luhrmann. This modern adaptation of Shakespeare's tragedy was stylish and bold, placing the familiar story in a fictional urban setting with guns replacing swords. DiCaprio played Romeo alongside Claire Danes' Juliet. The film was a commercial success, especially among younger viewers, and it helped expand his fan base even further. But nothing could have prepared DiCaprio or the world for what would happen next. In 1997, he starred in Titanic, directed by James Cameron. The film told the story of 2 lovers from different social classes who meet on the ill-fated ocean liner. DiCaprio played Jack Dawson, a penniless artist who falls in love with Rose, played by Kate Winslet. While the story was fictional, the film was set against the backdrop of the real-life Titanic disaster in 1912. At the time, Titanic was the most expensive film ever made. There were concerns about whether it would succeed, but when it was released, it became a cultural phenomenon. The film shattered box office records, becoming the highest-grossing film of all time until it was surpassed by Avatar in 2009. It won 11 Academy Awards, including Best Picture and Best Director. While DiCaprio didn't receive an Oscar nomination for his performance, he became a global star. His face was on magazines, posters, and television screens all over the world. Teenagers adored him, and the press followed his every move. Despite the fame, DiCaprio wasn't interested in being typecast as a romantic lead. After the overwhelming success of Titanic, he took a step back from the spotlight and became more selective about the roles he accepted. He wanted to prove he could do more than just play heartthrobs. In the early 2000s, he made a conscious decision to take on roles that challenged him artistically. One of his first major projects after Titanic was The Beach, released in 2000. The film, directed by Danny Boyle, followed a young backpacker's search for a hidden paradise in Thailand. It received mixed reviews but demonstrated that DiCaprio was willing to take risks and explore new territory. The following year, he appeared in Don's Plum, a low-budget black-and-white film shot with friends. But due to legal issues and disputes with co-stars, it was never widely released in the United States. In 2002, he starred in Catch Me If You Can, directed by Steven Spielberg. He played Frank Abagnale Jr., a real-life con artist who posed as a pilot, doctor, and lawyer while forging millions of dollars in checks. The film was a hit, and DiCaprio's performance was both charismatic and vulnerable. It showed a different side of him, playful, yet layered. That same year, he also starred in Gangs of New York, directed by Martin Scorsese. This marked the beginning of one of the most enduring and celebrated actor-director partnerships in modern cinema. Set in the 19th century, the film followed a young man seeking revenge in the rough streets of New York City. DiCaprio played the lead role, opposite Daniel Day-Lewis. Although the film received mixed reviews, it earned multiple Oscar nominations and laid the foundation for future collaborations with Scorsese. The two worked together again in The Aviator, 2004, where DiCaprio portrayed aviation pioneer and film director Howard Hughes. The role required him to depict Hughes's descent into mental illness and obsession, and it earned DiCaprio another Oscar nomination. His performance was widely praised for its depth and complexity. He continued this trend with The Departed in 2006, also directed by Scorsese. DiCaprio played a young undercover cop infiltrating a criminal organization in Boston. The film won the Academy Award for Best Picture and Best Director, though DiCaprio didn't win that year. Nonetheless, it was a major success and solidified his reputation as one of Hollywood's top actors. In that same year, he also starred in Blood Diamond, where he played a South African mercenary caught in the chaos of the Civil War in Sierra Leone. The role was physically demanding and emotionally intense, earning him another Oscar nomination. His accent, commitment to the role, and on-screen presence showed his continued evolution as a performer. By this point, DiCaprio had clearly moved past his heartthrob status. He was now a serious actor, known for taking on ambitious, often politically or socially themed roles. In 2008, he starred in Revolutionary Road, reuniting with Kate Winslet. The film explored the breakdown of a marriage and the crushing weight of suburban life in the 1950s. While the tone was darker and more tragic than Titanic, the chemistry between the two actors remained strong. In 2010, he led the cast of Inception, a mind-bending sci-fi thriller directed by Christopher Nolan. The film explored dreams, memory, and reality, and was both a critical and commercial hit. DiCaprio's role as a grief-stricken thief trying to return to his children added emotional depth to the complex plot. In the years that followed, he continued to push boundaries. He played the ruthless Jordan Belfort in The Wolf of Wall Street, the morally ambiguous Calvin Candy in Django Unchained, and finally won his long-awaited Oscar for The Revenant in 2015, where he portrayed a frontiersman left for dead in the wilderness. His commitment to the role was intense. He filmed in freezing conditions, ate raw bison liver, and delivered a mostly wordless performance that earned widespread acclaim. His most recent work has included roles in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and Don't Look Up, showing that even after decades in the business, he continues to stay relevant and sought after. In 2023, he starred in Killers of the Flower Moon, another collaboration with Martin Scorsese, based on a true story about the murders of members of the Osage Nation in 1920s America. Outside of acting, DiCaprio has also become known for his environmental activism. He launched the Leonardo DiCaprio Foundation in 1998 to focus on global conservation efforts. Over the years, he has spoken at the United Nations, produced climate change documentaries, and supported dozens of environmental causes. In recognition of his contributions, he was named a UN Messenger of Peace and received France's Order of Arts and Letters. His early fame following Titanic in 1997 thrust him into the spotlight in a way very few young actors experience. Fans wanted to know everything about him: what he ate, where he went, who he dated. One of the first relationships that attracted attention was with Bridget Hall, a Victoria's Secret model. In the early 1990s, long before Titanic made him a household name, the two were reportedly linked romantically. Though neither confirmed anything, they were seen at events together in 1994, and media coverage at the time suggested they were dating. Whether or not they were seriously involved remains uncertain. Another well-known name that appeared early in DiCaprio's dating timeline was Naomi Campbell. The supermodel and the actor were rumored to be romantically involved in the mid-1990s. Though the relationship was believed to be short-lived, they remained on good terms in the years that followed. They were often spotted together at events and even took holidays in the same social circles. In 2015, a photo posted by rapper 50 Cent showed DiCaprio and Campbell photobombing him at a party, joking that he was surrounded by the hottest people in the world. DiCaprio was also linked to model Kristen Zhang, whom he took to the premiere of Romeo plus Juliet in 1996. Their relationship seemed more public than others at the time, but it ended shortly before Titanic was released. The timing raised questions, with some speculating that the demands of sudden international fame may have contributed to the split. While neither DiCaprio nor Zhang ever shared detailed reasons for the breakup, it marked the start of a recurring pattern in his dating life: short to medium-term relationships with women who preferred to keep their private lives away from the press. In 1997, around the time of Titanic's release, DiCaprio was also seen with actress Demi Moore. At the time, Moore was still married to Bruce Willis, leading many to dismiss the rumors as just gossip. The two were spotted together at parties and social events, but there was never any formal acknowledgement of a romantic relationship from either side. It's unclear whether anything more than friendship occurred, but the speculation added fuel to DiCaprio's growing media presence. Another name frequently mentioned during the Titanic era was Helena Christensen, a Danish model and one of the original Victoria's Secret angels. The two were seen together at various industry events, and though neither spoke publicly about their connection, tabloids suggested they may have had a short-lived romance. However, just like with many of DiCaprio's reported relationships, no confirmation was ever given, and it remains part of the long list of unconfirmed pairings. As the 1990s ended and the 2000s began, DiCaprio's love life became more visible. He was no longer just the heartthrob from Titanic. He had evolved into a leading man in Hollywood and was regularly followed by the paparazzi. In this new phase of his life, one relationship stood out more than the rest. From 1999 to 2005, DiCaprio dated Brazilian supermodel Gisele Bündchen. Their relationship lasted around 6 years, one of the longest in DiCaprio's dating history. During their time together, they often made headlines, whether it was for attending high-profile events, environmental causes, or being spotted vacationing in remote destinations. One memorable moment was in 2004, when the couple traveled to the Amazon rainforest to raise awareness about deforestation and climate change. They used their platform to draw attention to global issues, something that reflected DiCaprio's growing commitment to environmental advocacy. However, by 2005, the relationship came to an end. In her 2018 memoir, Lessons: My Path to a Meaningful Life, Bündchen shared some insight into the breakup. She wrote about reaching a turning point in her life where she chose to stop smoking, drinking, and working excessively. As she started focusing on personal growth, she realized that her priorities were changing. She described feeling more awake and conscious while hinting that DiCaprio wasn't on the same path at the time. She didn't mention him by name, but it was clear the relationship had run its course as their lives moved in different directions. Shortly after the breakup with Bunchen, DiCaprio began dating Israeli model Bar Refaeli. Their relationship lasted from around 2005 to 2011, though it had several breaks along the way. The couple was often seen at sports games, award shows, and holiday destinations. In 2010, they were photographed sitting courtside at a Los Angeles Lakers game, which became one of the most iconic celebrity sightings of the year. Despite their public appearances, both kept the relationship fairly private and rarely spoke about it in interviews. In a magazine interview following their split, Refaeli described how the breakup had helped her grow. She said that spending time alone made her realize the importance of self-reliance, and that she had learned to be comfortable on her own. Her comments reflected maturity and suggested that the end of the relationship had been a chance for self-discovery rather than regret. During one of his breaks from Refaeli, DiCaprio was also linked to Anne Violetsina, a Russian model known for her work with Victoria's Secret and Sports Illustrated. The two were photographed together in Europe, but their relationship was never officially confirmed. Anne later married Maroon 5 singer Adam Levine and has kept her personal life mostly out of the public eye. In 2011, DiCaprio began dating actress Blake Lively. Known for her role on the television series Gossip Girl, Lively brought a different kind of celebrity into DiCaprio's life, one tied more closely to film and television than fashion. Their relationship lasted only a few months but was highly visible. The couple was seen together in France during the Cannes Film Festival, and later vacationed in Italy and Australia. According to Gossip Girl showrunner Joshua Safran, during this time, Lively would take photos of a travel doll she carried around and send them to DiCaprio. It was her personal way of sharing moments in the pre-Instagram era, showing a playful and creative side to their connection. As DiCaprio's career continued to evolve, so did his dating patterns. More often than not, he was seen with models in their 20s. Critics and commentators began pointing out the noticeable age gap between him and many of his partners, a topic that would only grow louder in the years to come. Still, for the most part, DiCaprio avoided engaging with the media about these topics. He kept his private life separate from his public persona, rarely giving interviews about relationships or addressing rumors. In 2012, he was seen riding bikes in New York with Erin Heatherton, another Victoria's Secret model. Although their relationship was brief, Heatherton later described DiCaprio as a good person and a friend. She wished him well in interviews and maintained that there were no hard feelings. The relationship didn't end with any public drama, reinforcing DiCaprio's pattern of low-key breakups. The following year, there were reports connecting DiCaprio with Miranda Kerr, the Australian model who had recently separated from actor Orlando Bloom. The two were seen dining together in Las Vegas, but people close to both parties insisted they were just friends. Kerr would later go on to marry tech billionaire Evan Spiegel, founder of Snapchat, and focus on raising her family. Also in 2013, Brazilian model Kat Torres claimed in an interview that she and DiCaprio were dating. She mentioned that they had a pact not to speak publicly about the relationship, which made her comments somewhat surprising. However, shortly after the interview, sources close to DiCaprio denied that they were a couple. Torres later stepped away from the public eye, and the story faded from the news cycle. What had become clear by the mid-2010s was that DiCaprio's relationships, whether confirmed or speculative, followed a familiar pattern. They were often with models, generally younger than him, and usually ended quietly without public drama. While he occasionally dated actresses, most of his partners came from the fashion world. The press took notice and the public began forming opinions. But DiCaprio, for the most part, remained silent. In 2016, DiCaprio was rumored to be in a relationship with Barbadian singer and global superstar Rihanna. The pair were spotted together on multiple occasions, including at the Coachella Music Festival, parties in Paris, and even Rihanna's birthday celebration in 2017. Despite the growing speculation, neither of them confirmed a romantic relationship. At one point, a French tabloid falsely claimed that DiCaprio had gotten Rihanna pregnant. That claim was swiftly denied, and DiCaprio even pursued legal action, which he won. The rumor was officially dismissed, and no concrete evidence of a relationship ever surfaced, although fans enjoyed imagining the possibility. That same year, DiCaprio began dating Danish model Nina Agdal. She was 24 at the time, while he was 41. Their relationship appeared more relaxed and visible than some of his previous romances. The pair were photographed vacationing together and spending time in New York and the Hamptons. Reports suggested the relationship was becoming serious, but by May 2017, it had ended without much public drama. Both parties kept things private, and there were no negative statements or fallout in the media. By late 2017, DiCaprio was linked to Camila Morrone, an Argentinian-American actress and model. At the start of their relationship, Morrone was 20 years old, while DiCaprio was 43. The age gap immediately became a subject of public discussion. Social media was filled with commentary, some of it critical, others simply curious. Still, the couple appeared to ignore the chatter. They were seen together at various events, and over time, their relationship became one of the most significant and long-lasting in DiCaprio's adult life. Camila Morrone, the daughter of actress Lucila Sola, had grown up in the entertainment world. Her mother had previously been in a long-term relationship with actor Al Pacino, who reportedly introduced Morrone to DiCaprio. Despite the scrutiny surrounding their age difference, Morrone showed poise in the face of public criticism. In 2019, she addressed the topic in an interview with the Los Angeles Times. She said she understood why people were interested, but added that relationships with age gaps had existed throughout history. Morrone stated that people should be able to date who they want, while acknowledging that even she might be curious if the roles were reversed. In a separate moment, Morrone posted a video on Instagram with the caption, "My God, people are so mean and full of anger with people they know nothing about." It was a rare public response to the online comments about her relationship. The post was interpreted by many as a message to those criticizing her for dating DiCaprio. She later removed it, but the sentiment left an impression. The couple remained together for nearly 5 years, making it one of DiCaprio's longest public relationships. They were seen vacationing together, walking red carpets, and even attending the Oscars in 2020, though they arrived separately. Inside the venue, they were seated next to each other, sparking even more talk about the seriousness of their relationship. Despite the public interest, the relationship came to an end in August 2022. As with most of DiCaprio's breakups, there was no public fallout. No interviews were given, and no official reasons were provided. But the breakup reignited a familiar conversation. Why do Leonardo DiCaprio's relationships tend to end when his partners reach a certain age? That question became a frequent talking point online, especially after a graph circulated on social media showing that none of DiCaprio's known relationships had continued past the age of 25 for his partners. The chart went viral, prompting jokes, memes, and some more serious commentary on age dynamics in Hollywood. While many of the posts were made in jest, others questioned why DiCaprio, now in his late 40s, continued to date much younger women. DiCaprio, staying true to his private nature, didn't comment. Following his breakup with Morrone, DiCaprio was briefly linked to Gigi Hadid, one of the most well-known models in the world. This rumor was notable because Hadid was in her late 20s at the time, older than many of DiCaprio's previous partners. The pair were seen at the same events and photographed together in similar locations, leading to speculation that they were romantically involved. However, sources close to the actor said that while DiCaprio and Hadid had known each other for a long time and had tried dating, it hadn't developed into anything serious. One insider told the press that there was no relationship, open or otherwise, and that they remained friends. Hadid has since gone on to date actor Bradley Cooper, putting the rumors firmly to rest. In 2023, a new name entered the picture: Vittoria Soretti. An Italian model with an established career in the fashion world, Soretti had worked with major brands like Versace, Gucci, Balenciaga, and Alexander McQueen. She began modeling at the age of 14 and had since built a strong international reputation. Soretti had also previously been married to Italian DJ Matteo Maleri, but their relationship had ended in divorce earlier that year. DiCaprio and Cerretti were reportedly introduced during the Cannes Film Festival in May 2023, at the premiere of Killers of the Flower Moon. Not long after, they were seen together in Ibiza, which quickly led to headlines. The pair appeared at multiple events in the months that followed, including Halloween parties, concerts, and DiCaprio's 49th birthday celebration in Los Angeles. Perhaps most notably, Cerretti was photographed spending time with DiCaprio's mother. For some, this was a sign that the relationship might be more serious than others in the past. Meeting family is often viewed as a milestone, and while the couple didn't comment on their status, it was clear they were spending considerable time together. As rumors of an engagement began to circulate, some fans noticed that Cerretti had been wearing a diamond ring. This led to speculation that DiCaprio might finally be preparing to settle down. However, those close to Cerretti clarified that the ring was not new and had been part of her jewelry collection since 2022, before she met DiCaprio. Despite the denial, the story gained traction, with fans joking online that perhaps turning 50 had made him reconsider marriage. Insiders close to the actor have stated otherwise. According to sources, DiCaprio still does not see marriage as something necessary. One person told the press that while he is very fond of Cerretti and enjoys their time together, he doesn't feel the need to make anything official with a wedding. In his view, the commitment is already there without the formality of a marriage certificate. On the other side, reports suggest that Cerretti is serious about the relationship and has made efforts to understand and connect with DiCaprio on a deeper level. One source described her as invested and intelligent, and mentioned that she is playing things thoughtfully. Apparently, DiCaprio has a more introverted intellectual side that not everyone gets to see, and Cerretti has been able to connect with him in that space. She's reportedly gone out of her way to make time for him and get to know the people around him. Even with all these positive signs, those close to DiCaprio continue to say that marriage is unlikely. That's not necessarily a reflection on his current relationship, but more of a personal choice he's stuck to over the years. He's never publicly ruled it out, but neither has he ever shown interest in making it a priority. For decades, he's balanced massive global fame with a remarkably private personal life. While many celebrities share updates and snapshots from their day-to-day routines on social media, DiCaprio has kept his distance from that world. He doesn't have an official Instagram account, avoids talking about his relationships, and rarely gives interviews unless it's related to a film or a cause he supports. That distance from public oversharing has allowed him to maintain some control over his image, even while being one of the most photographed and talked about actors of his generation. Still, as he reached 50, some topics became harder to ignore. One of them is fatherhood. For years, DiCaprio has avoided questions about settling down, raising a family, or becoming a parent. But in a rare moment of honesty during a recent interview, he admitted that he does see children in his future. He said, "I am sure it will be," when asked about having kids, followed by a simple truth: "I'm not getting any younger." It was a candid statement from someone who is typically very reserved about these matters. While it didn't signal any immediate plans for a family, it did show that DiCaprio is thinking about his life beyond acting and beyond the next film. That admission stood out, partly because DiCaprio has spent much of his adult life avoiding traditional commitments. He has often been seen as someone who values freedom, who enjoys exploring the world and his passions without being tied down by expectations or societal timelines. His dating history shows that he's been in long-term relationships, some lasting several years, but he has always stopped short of marriage. For many, the question remains why. Those close to him often say the same thing. Leonardo DiCaprio is deeply focused on his work. His career has always been more than a job. It's a craft, something he takes incredibly seriously. From his early days working with Robert De Niro to his repeated collaborations with Martin Scorsese, he has built a career based on choosing roles that challenge him. He's known to spend months preparing for a part, studying, researching, and sometimes physically transforming himself for the role. Acting for him isn't about staying in the spotlight. It's about fully immersing himself in a story. One source said that this intense dedication is likely one of the reasons his relationships often take a back seat. When he's working on a film, he's fully consumed by it. That level of commitment has helped him become one of the most respected actors in the industry. But it also means there's less room for other parts of life. It's not that he isn't capable of long-term connection. He's shown he can maintain relationships for years. It's that his professional life often demands more time and energy than people realize. There's also the matter of public pressure. For over 2 decades, DiCaprio has been asked about marriage in interviews. Journalists, fans, and tabloids have all taken turns speculating about when he'll finally settle down. And with each new relationship, the question resurfaces: is this the one? But rather than push back against the pressure, DiCaprio has quietly avoided it. He doesn't make grand statements or issue public denials. Instead, he continues living life on his own terms, choosing not to be defined by whether or not he wears a wedding ring. Some insiders believe this is a deliberate choice. One person close to DiCaprio said that he doesn't believe marriage is necessary to have a meaningful relationship. In his view, love and commitment can exist without paperwork or ceremony. This belief may explain why, even in his longest relationships, he never appeared close to proposing. While others his age were building families and settling down, DiCaprio was traveling, making films, and supporting causes he cares about, particularly the environment. That passion for environmentalism has been one of the constants in his life. In 1998, he established the Leonardo DiCaprio Foundation, which has supported more than 200 projects in over 50 countries. He's spoken at the United Nations, sat on panels about climate change, and used his platform to amplify the voices of scientists and activists. This kind of advocacy takes time and commitment, and it's something DiCaprio has said gives him a deeper sense of purpose. In many ways, it's part of his identity, just as much as acting. It's also worth noting that DiCaprio has never really followed the typical Hollywood path. He's never married, never had a public breakdown, and never launched a personal brand. He doesn't release memoirs, start fashion lines, or engage in social media feuds. His lifestyle, while glamorous from the outside, is relatively quiet for someone of his stature. He's more likely to be spotted leaving a museum or attending a climate summit than appearing on reality television or promoting a product line. That sense of independence seems to carry over into how he views relationships. Even as he's grown older, DiCaprio's dating history has continued to attract attention. He's often seen with younger women, and while some view this critically, others point out that the relationships, however short, have been conducted respectfully and without public fallout. When a relationship ends, it ends quietly. There are no scandals, no public disputes, no personal details leaked to the press. In an era where many celebrity romances are played out for cameras and clicks, DiCaprio's approach remains notably understated. His current relationship with model Vittoria Ceretti has drawn attention for many of the same reasons as past ones. But those close to the couple say there's genuine connection and shared interests. Ceretti, who comes from a strong fashion background and has lived a public life of her own, is said to understand the demands of DiCaprio's career and personality. She's also known for being intelligent, thoughtful, and private, which aligns with the type of partner DiCaprio seems to gravitate toward. Still, despite the signs of a solid bond, insiders maintain that marriage is unlikely. A source close to DiCaprio told one outlet that he simply doesn't see himself as a married man. It's not about avoiding commitment, it's about not feeling the need to formalize it in a traditional way. This may disappoint some fans who've long hoped to see DiCaprio walk down the aisle, but for him that choice appears to come from a place of self-awareness rather than hesitation. As for fatherhood, the possibility now seems more open than before. In that same recent interview, DiCaprio's mention of wanting children hinted at a shift in mindset. Whether that means he'll become a parent in the near future is unknown, but it does suggest that he's thinking differently as he reaches this next stage of life. After all, age has a way of changing how we view time, relationships, and what we want out of the years ahead. What hasn't changed is his love for acting. Throughout his entire career, from This Boy's Life to The Revenant to Killers of the Flower Moon, DiCaprio has remained one of the most committed performers in the industry. He's never lost his hunger for great roles, and he continues to challenge himself with each new project. That passion is what continues to drive him, and likely always will. So, will Leonardo DiCaprio ever get married? Maybe. But if he doesn't, It won't be because he's afraid of commitment or incapable of love. It will be because he has chosen a different path, one that prioritizes connection without conditions, purpose over appearances, and personal freedom over expectation. Whether or not that includes a wedding in the future, only time will tell.